Hey everybody, and welcome to Gaming with Minnie. Today we're continuing the Batman TellTales series with the first two chapters of episode 2. I thought it would be better this time to break it up into smaller videos to make it a little easier for everybody to watch, rather than having to sit there for an hour and a half to go through this. So with that said, we're just going to go through these first two chapters, and then I will put out another video with the final 3 chapters. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and come by and check out the channel for more videos about Batman TellTales series and many other games that I'm playing and putting on the channel.
Your father knew which hands to shake.
If you watched my last video, we recently found out that Bruce Wayne's parents were actually part of a criminal organization, and so not so good of people as we are always used to knowing in the previous movies and comics.
The chemicals. Where are they? We're all being played here, including you. Ah, Christ almighty! It's the Waynes. Well, the Waynes are the biggest gangsters in Gotham.
It was interesting to see another retelling of how Bruce's parents died. Him being able to go through and investigate the alley and come up with a storyline on why or how his parents died. So during this introduction, he gets to kind of investigate that and kind of come up with his own story compared to movies and other comics where we kind of always just told what happened, and here we actually get to see a different telling of that story, which I enjoyed more because you could tell that maybe the Waynes weren't always such amazing people and they did a lot of bad things in the past, but that does not necessarily mean Bruce Wayne is that same person. He decided to step up and actually help the people by doing the right thing, which isn't always right. Another character I very much enjoyed both in this one and the sequel, which we'll do later, is Bruce Wayne's butler, Alfred. He generally did a really good job of grounding Bruce, just like we've always seen in all the movies. He always was there to make sure that Bruce didn't go super off the edge. And again, same thing here.
That kind of money taints you.
You kept their secrets for them.
I'm trying to help you understand.
Then try harder!
You can also tell at the beginning of this chapter is how angry Bruce is at this point. He found out that his parents weren't always the greatest people. He also found out that Alfred had been hiding it from him, and now he's starting to find out so many facts that he never expected to find out or ever realize that his parents were involved in.
Papers, they were telling the truth. Everyone knew about this but me.
I know it's a lot to take in. I want you to know I had my suitcases ready. I couldn't stand to be around your father anymore. But then they were killed, and you were all alone. And I just couldn't walk out the door. Everything I did, everything I've ever done, was out of love for you. I hope you can forgive me.
How could I hold this against you? You're all I've got, Alfred.
And of course, just like all of our previous stories, generally him and Alfred have such a father-son relationship that Bruce generally forgives Alfred, and Alfred always stands by Bruce. So I like that always about the stories. I've always liked that about the characters. They're kind of family in a sense. I mean, that's all Bruce has ever had or known, so it makes sense that they would be the closest relationship in his
He
series.
was simply too well known. Too big. Yet, there it was.
He got careless. Criminals always do.
You always said it was a simple mugging. In 20 years, you've never wavered from that story.
I can recall every moment of that night in vivid detail. But maybe that's wrong.
So here is where we're going to jump into that investigation phase like we've done in the previous Batman game, where he takes things and links them together to determine how his mom and dad were murdered and then maybe determine who did it. It's a little far-fetched just for the fact that you're going to take something from 20 years ago and then magically put it together, and that's just how it's going to happen. I don't know. I don't care for it. I just felt like they just took something with really, really thin strings and tried to make it into a real story, and I just didn't like it at all.
Question. Why? My parents could have given him anything. Why would he just shoot them?
I mean, let's be honest. Your family's wealthy. They're going to shoot you for getting money or jewelry or anything else. So there could be a million reasons behind that. I just think, again, really weird, loose links to things. At this time, I just walked around hoping there was more to this than what they were showing. It just seemed kind of weird again that, you know, they had very little in here to investigate and somehow you're going to link it. And then here you have like this graffiti on the wall. Somehow that was linked to what this guy's doing. I guess it was supposed to just be a memory for the street.
Thought he was invincible.
Again,
Sadly,
don't see the real link here, but they're going to put together some story about this here in a minute that'll link him and his parents to this crime family thing that's going on, that somehow this guy was hired to kill his parents, which we will of course figure out later in the game anyways, that people hired obviously to start this whole thing on.
I love that movie. Saw it countless times at that theater. How long did it play there?
only when you wanted to see it, Bruce. Your mother arranged the special screenings personally.
I never knew that. She was always so good to me.
And I always thought in the story that they never really went to a movie. They always went to a play, and that was like the thing, like a musical. However, totally fine that they did a movie. It's still the same telling that they went there, but the concept of the story has always been that they were in a crowded theater, they left early, and when they left, they happened to go down this alley and died. And I think it's weird that they just had some private screening, but sure, when you're wealthy, you can of course do those things.
Recollection.
Maybe. Do I really want to know?
So here's where they're going to link the story, where you have his parents get killed and then so on. But yet again, I just want to point out, I think they're going to show that 3 tickets drop, but yet he's only carrying 2. So I've never understood that. I think that was just a minor glitch or a minor problem that they missed in the game when developing it, but whatever.
You don't have to do this.
And of course, like unlike other Batman movies, they are very violent in this movie. They had no problem just going straight out and killing. Look at that. So they just went out and just shot him right in the eye and then killed his mom. Crazy compared to what the movies would ever show. Okay, so I just realized they dropped 2 tickets here. But in the previous episode, we saw three tickets. So it's funny to see how it's different when you go to both of these. So just something to point out that it looks like it corrected it here, and I didn't realize that.
They were assassinated. And Carmine Falcone knows why.
Getting you in to see Falcone like this, I don't have to tell you how many rules we're breaking. Now, don't get me wrong.
If you watch the previous episode, you're going to see here that Falcone got captured by Batman, was then eventually put here where Bruce gets a chance to chat with him, and then some things go wrong.
It means a lot to me.
I know it does, Bruce. It doesn't make it any easier. The last time you disappeared behind closed doors with Falcone, the press made us pay. At least tell me what this is about. Look, I'm all for blind support.
I'm not sure, but I think Falcone put a hit on my parents.
Wait, what? Bruce, that's terrible.
That's why I have to speak with him. I have to know for sure.
Bruce, I appreciate.
I will say, just like the previous chapter, that Harvey Dent in this chapter still has crazy eyes. His eyes stand out compared to Bruce. You look at Bruce's, they look more organic, and you look at Dent's, and his eyes just pop out of his head almost.
Ordinarily, we'd never let you in to see Falcone, but it must be nice to have a DA in your pocket, Mr. Wayne. Bend the rules whenever you need it.
One hand washes the other, Lieutenant.
Is that how it works?
Of course. Otherwise, everyone has dirty hands.
What he means is, we'll repay the favor in kind.
I'm gonna call you on that.
Nice job bringing in Falcone. Yeah, that son of a bitch better not get off again.
He's not getting off the hook, Renee. Not this time.
Mr. Wayne, Sergeant Renee Montoya. I just wanted to say, some of us police support you, despite what the media is saying.
Thanks.
It's
Sergeant.
interesting to see how Gordon kind of gives Bruce a hard time, and then you walk up to her, and she was actually really nice and responsive. So it's interesting to see how different his character is compared to seeing in previous movies. How Gordon always had like a decent relationship with Bruce.
Lucky to have him.
Yeah, it's great to know he's out there watching over the city.
All right, Falcone's inside. You say what you gotta say. We'll be out here.
Kind of humors me that they leave like a bloody rag next to him with like a needle and like blood stains or dirt or something. I mean, really? You're in a hospital.
Bruce Wayne?
You must have some clout. My own wife can't get in to see me. Good thing I'll be out of here in a week.
We need to talk, Falcone.
You weren't so eager the last time we met. But then, I knew you'd come around. Especially after the press got their teeth into you. You're your father's son. Yeah, that's right. Tommy and I were close. More than friends. More like cousins.
Clearly, we're just trying to figure out more about Bruce's family, find out more what happened, and of course help lead into what's going on in the city.
So that's
Which,
what this is really
again,
about, eh?
just pointing out,
Bringing up a 20-year-old
over there
kid,
on his
too.
little table, we had blood,
Never forgotten.
a bowl full of blood. Look at that. I don't know if that's peroxide next to it, but yeah. Whoever is the nurse for
Trying to get
them.
through to you would dense party.
is pretty terrible
You-
at cleaning up after
you showed me
themselves.
the door.
Let alone, what
Got a whole
nurse
closet
leaves a
full of
needle
birthday
next to
presents
a
I was
guy?
never able to give.
Clearly a criminal on top
Damn
of that.
shame you asked me.
And
Convince me.
who would allow
Tell me
him
a story
or
about
anybody
big
to administer
happy
that drug via a needle by himself?
There it
These
is.
days, I'm pretty sure
Now I
they
get
use
you
him through like a drip bag.
Your father, Hill,
I'm just blown away.
me, we ran this city. Still do. God damn this pain. Can't think through it. Morphine's on the side there.
So they didn't
Good
invent this
boy.
little thing
Help
where you have a
Uncle Carmine
button that you
out.
press where you can administer so much morphine. Apparently, you can determine how much morphine you have with a needle, and you're gonna let a random person do it to you. It's pretty ridiculous.
Years I keep my veins clean of any of that gunk. But you never forget the tender kiss. It'd be so easy to give me the whole vial, wouldn't it? Enough there to put an old dog down forever. Of course, you'd never know the whole story. How much of your parents do you have in you? What kind of son did Thomas Wayne make?
I'm not a murderer.
No, you're not. That's why you
And
were
of course,
kept in the dark.
because you're playing Batman and Bruce Wayne,
Much
and we
better,
all
kid.
know that Bruce Wayne's basic
Thank you.
rule is he does not murder. He's
Just
not a
like
killer.
that reminds me
So
of
I had to stick to that through the story. I wanted to
father
make
may have
sure
been the
that we
doctor,
kept with
but
that story because I
Martha,
do know at some point
she
in the
had the
game
human
they
touch.
allow you to kind of make some pretty rough
You
decisions.
got more of her
And
in you, to
again,
tell the truth.
you know, you're Batman. Batman's supposed to be a hero. You know, he's not supposed to be a murderer.
Well, I wouldn't know. You took her from me when I was 9 years old.
What, you really think I hired Chill? Sure. I worked with Joe Chill from time to time. Put a button on someone, he'd take him out. But I never ordered that hit on your parents.
So who did?
You can't trust anyone in Gotham. Least of all those you call friend.
Of course you
Your
can't
parents let that
trust anybody because you know what? Even the cops these days shoot you in the face.
The bastard had to die.
Hands in the air! Stand down! Get a doctor! Secure this floor! No
I
one
don't
gets
think
in or
he'll be
out.
getting back up from
Go!
that one.
Go!
Just a thought. Alright, I'm gonna call it as it is.
Deep shit.
That smoke coming out of that cigarette or cigar
some
is the
time,
most ridiculous glitch I have
Word's gonna
ever
get out,
seen in a
sooner or
game.
later.
It bothered me so much in this game that I
she do
honestly, every
something
time
like
I saw
this?
Gordon, I
We
almost
Gotham's
wanted to quit
biggest
playing this
crime
game.
lord in our
I could
grasp.
not believe that a glitch
This
like
close,
that
we
was
were
passed up.
this close.
The reason I
Isn't
know
it
it's a
obvious?
glitch is if
She
you
wanted
look
to
at
shut
how
Falcone up for good.
when he
whole
smokes,
damn force is
you'll
riddled
see
with
that
corruption.
he breathes out
Someone
smoke
must have
and it
got
looks
George.
good, but that
Just doesn't make any
whatever that
sense.
is supposed to be is just ridiculous.
do
And then
anything
in
to
the
hurt
future game, the sequel to this,
Falcone
it doesn't
sacrificed
have that same
justice
glitch.
for 1,000 unnamed victims. And now it is a PR disaster. How can I run against corruption when our own cops are redecorating the precinct with their prisoners' brains? Listen, we gotta get out in front of this. We gotta spin it as best we can. Issue a statement saying that we have the shooter in custody. That details are still coming in and that we're investigating. The usual.
Slow down, Harvey. We need the facts first.
The simple fact is she walked in and shot him.
Then we need the complex facts, like how and why.
Lieutenant,
how did she kill him? I don't know. She held a gun and shot him.
Delay them for a little
Pretty
while.
straightforward.
Still need
Why?
answers.
Obviously she didn't like the guy. Come on now.
Tell me if she says anything. I have to know why she did this.
Alfred, Falcone's been murdered.
Good God.
I'm looking into it, but I'll need access to the back computer for anything I find.
Connection secured.
Alfred, I'm gonna try and confirm some suspicions of mine.
Just like any other Telltale game, especially in Batman, you're going to investigate things that's on the individual and try to figure it out. What's going on? Clearly we know the lady was drugged. It's pretty apparent, especially if you watch the last chapter. You're certainly going to realize that it's probably a big drug thing, being that you saw her image when she came in the room with big old blue veins coming out of her lips.
Forward me the result.
Of course. I'll be in touch as soon as I have the results.
Where am I? Mr. Wayne? What's going on? Oh, but I got this awful feeling something terrible happened.
Yeah, something pretty awful happened. You shot him in the face.
Oh, God. Falcone. I was hoping it wasn't real.
I believe you were drugged, Sergeant.
It would explain a lot. Listen, you have to believe me. I talk big about hurting thugs like Falcone, but I would never betray the lieutenant. Everything is so foggy. I remember a sharp pain.
There's an injection site on your neck.
Then I just felt light, like I could do whatever I wanted.
Pretty sure those drugs
No
are
guilt,
called cocaine,
no
heroin,
consequence.
any of the fun ones. Just
There was a
saying.
voice in my ear insisting Falcone was gonna get off. And all I knew was that I had to stop that. I had to, no matter what. The reasons why I should've, they were a million miles away.
You have to remember more, Montoya. Try.
I remember a hand on my arm, guiding me like a parent with a child. The voice, it was saying something about revolution.
Cobblepot said something similar.
And if you don't know who Cobblepot
So
is,
sorry,
and you missed my last episode,
I've let you down.
that is
I
Penguin.
installed Falcone's lawyers for now, but they'll be back. How is she? Did she tell you anything?
Yeah, don't worry about that now.
I found evidence that she was drugged. A fresh injection site on her neck.
I was out of my mind, Lieutenant. Please believe me.
Hey, I do. Of course I do.
Hey, get forensics in here. Now!
She remembers a voice saying something about revolution.
That's not much to go on.
Now, if you're bringing forensics in, let's get Bruce out.
Alfred, I gotta get back to the manor. I've got a lead on
I
whoever's
don't
behind
really
this.
understand why he has to touch the side of his head to speak. I guess this time they didn't
My
have
friends in the
wireless
GCPD have been telling
headphones
stories
that just
about some
work.
kind of
I
lockdown.
don't know.
I'm sorry, Vicky. I don't have time.
Don't brush me off. Word is there were shots fired near where Falcone was being held. Know anything about that? I mean, you must have been back there when it happened.
Where did you get that?
So it's true?
No, I didn't say that.
Listen, I owe you for those files on Falcone. I got a lot of credit at the Gazette for that story. Whatever's going on here, you can't afford to be associated with it. Let me help you. I can keep your name out of whatever we print, but you need to give me something I can use.
As a
Who
hint,
fired the shots? A cop?
she ain't gonna help you in the
I
long
can
run.
tell by the way you're brushing me off that something happened. Just give me something to run with.
Alright everybody, that's it for chapter 2 of episode 2. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and if you haven't yet, hit that bell so you can get notified of my next video. Have a wonderful day.